Here we are then, the final session on this automation for music and sound production course, short course. Yeah, I am going to put into practice some of the techniques we've learnt so far on this short course. So let's see what I can come up with. Going to go back to that kind of breaks electro track. It's not really arranged. There's a section that's grooving along and then drops into a space, a breakdown, for example. So I'm going to kind of see what I can do automation wise to make the breakdown start to evolve, yeah, in a kind of special way. I'm not going to spend lots and lots of time doing this, but let's just kind of use my imagination, see what I've got, see what I can do with the tools I've got, and just to give you an idea of what is possible. And yeah, encourage you to and inspire you to use your creative mind with everything that you've learned on this short course so far. All right, so let's do it. Let's go. All right, so here's the track. Let's have a little bit of a groove and see what it does as it breaks into the space. Okay, so yeah, it's got something, but let's see what we can do. So I'm gonna concentrate on that Juno synth. So I'm gonna focus on that first. I want this to do something a little bit more dynamic in this area. Now we know we've already got it going across to a bus here. It's going across to the Pro R reverb here. But yeah, we could, for example, use that a little bit more cleverly. We could open up that reverb a little, or we could literally just come back to the synth itself and start to add in some effects here and have a little play about. All right, so I first of all fancy adding a little bit of a delay onto the end of the last kind of note. It's already reverbing, all right, via the bus here, all right, but let's now see if we can kind of get something happening. So I'm going to go with Replica, which is one of my current favorite delays. I do like this. I'm just going to leave it in its default state there. Now at the minute, if I leave this on, it is going to literally delay everything all the way through. So I'm going to use this quite cleverly by bypassing it up until the point I want it to work. All right, so you know, we could stick this into latch mode, but right now I know where that is. Let's zoom in here. A for automation. Let's go to our drop down menu. Let's go to main. And I know the Replica is on insert bypass 2, so I want to bypass it. Click, and if we now make a couple of nodes, now as when I put this up, it's bypassed, but of course I want it to switch on at this point here where that final note is. All right, so that's what's going to happen. Now what I have got to do though is take this all the way back to the beginning so that it's bypassed fully up until that point. All right, so this is a great way to do it, because before we have these types of functions automation wise, if we wanted to delay something in this way, we would have to have copied the track on the sound onto another track and apply a delay to that track itself. But we no longer need to do that because we can switch plugins on and off, inserts on and off whenever we like. Let's see how that sounds. All right, we can hear it delaying. I might start this a little later. Probably here. No, I quite like it coming right back to where it was. And now it's Open Replica. And what I'd like to do is look at this feedback. So I want to automate that feedback opening up and closing. Before it slams back in. So let's have it to a point where it's working as a delay. Right, so let's do a rough sketch of this now doing its thing. So, going to stick my track into latch mode. Now, I am doing this with my mouse because, yeah, not everybody's got a controller like mine in front of them. So I'm just going to kind of use the mouse just to demonstrate so it's all on screen for you. All right, so here we go, let's do it. So that's the idea. So let's get this back and extend this loop so we kind of hear it drop back into the track. Now, it wasn't perfect. It didn't start to delay early enough. So I'm going to stick this back into read mode now. And what I could have used there was touch. Again, I could have used that, so I dropped back down to nothing right here at the start. But we'll put that like that. And let's now try to get this to kind of open up a little earlier, like this. Let's hear it amongst the track. Yeah, I might even have this a lot quicker. Pull it so it drops back a little. Again, this is all playing about until you get it sounding right. I want it to build intenseness here with the delay coming back in. That would be the idea. So that's one idea right there with that. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at what else we could do here. I'm going to go to another track. Let's see what else we've got. We've got some drums. I quite fancy that snare Again, adding a bit of a delay to that one as well. So let's have a let's do that. We've got a bit crusher on that. We could automate that as well. So let's put replica onto the delay. And the same again. We're just going to bypass this. A for automation. Bypass replica until it hits that last snare. Then we take it all the way back. And again, you could repeat this through your song at any different place. Switch the delay on and off any way you like. Let's come back. That's what it sounds like. Again, I'm just leaving replica in that state. Now I'm going to put this into filter. That sounds kind of cool. Let's turn this feedback up so we get further delays. Even further. Great. Let's see what it sounds like in the mix. So there's one's moving away, the other one is coming in. Starting to really shape up a little bit of a breakdown here. Okay, what else could we do? We have got Vital here. What's the last note on that actually doing? Yeah, I fancy putting a really big reverb onto that itself. So we've got well actually we have already, we've got Cloud Max on here. So we could play about with some of the controls on Cloud Max, maybe playing about with the dry wet and do a little bit of kind of texture resonation, turning up this size control here. We'll bring that back to yeah, both those controls could work really well. If we can get this right, we can push this one up. And whilst that's doing that, we can kind of go through the resonation changes. Right, so we're going to start it there. Let's stick this track into latch mode. Let's do it. All right, so before I do the other one, I'm going to just look at what has actually happened on there. Let's stick this into read because I think I got caught. with the tail. Oh no, it looks like it's done a good enough job. I'm not sure it should. It really shouldn't be that high to start off with. Let's just make sure. Again, this is where you really need to just zoom in, cancel out those other nodes, and start to get that right. So I'm going to catch that note. Let's have a look, see what it sounds like. We'll leave that as it is. I quite like the way that dies away. Excellent. Right, so now let's open the plugin again. And here we'll now play about with this control. Let's switch into latch mode. And this is what we're now going to automate. So let's do it. Stick that back into read. Well, I'll have a listen what that sounds like, because obviously I didn't do it against the song, but we'll see. Sometimes you get happy mistakes. That's what making music is all about. Right, let's have a look to see what that actually did. Well, that's our feedback. I actually really like it happening and starting to kind of slow down texture resonator wise just before it breaks. That's kind of cool. That's working. Okay, I think, listen, I could go on and on and on here, but I'm just kind of giving you some ideas of what we could do and how we can start to create these really cool breakdowns, for example, out of using what we've got and using our imagination and the automation techniques that you've learned on this course so far. I could spend, and I often do, spend a lot of time just designing these sections and designing things to happen throughout the song, using automation and MIDI CCs to really craft a beautiful piece of music or a sound, come to that, because automation is often used in sound design, and particularly in areas I work in for sound and music for visual media, particularly for sound in visual media. Automation is key It's how things are on the screen. All right, so the sound to the screen, that's really, really important. And it just opens up so many doors, like I've already said on this at the start of this course. So there you go. If you've really enjoyed this course, I totally encourage you to get hold of me if you need to speak to me and you need some help, also support of anything automation, and you want me to check through some things. Please do check out the other courses where you will find, particularly with the DAW courses, I use automation quite creatively as part of arrangement, and mixing come to that, because it is about mixing, where we can drop some volumes occasionally, pan some sounds, use some stereo spreads, maybe a compressor in a certain area. So yeah, use automation both creatively, like I've just been doing, and mix wise. So that's it. I really hope you've enjoyed this short course, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.